Hi everyone, and you're very welcome to this channel Narcon, where we deal with all things in relation to the narcissistic personality disorder and in our understanding of what it is and how narcissists think we can better depersonalize from the experience we had with them and sort some things out in our minds so that we can move on away from the ruminating phase and actually start to rebuild our lives, this time better than before, because we've just been through, if you've been through a relationship with a real narcissist, it's akin to nearly a therapy session. It literally brings out all of your vulnerabilities and really gets you to look at who you are in the whole process of what you just went through. So it leaves you, when you work on yourself after the relationship, that much stronger and that much more hungry, I think, for success in your own life and to have a purpose and to do what you want to do in life. So, with that said, the title of this podcast is 5 things, actually, I have six things that narcissists fear the most. And if you think it's a strange type of question, or why would anyone want to know what narcissists fear the most, knowing that and knowing the way they think gives us a better understanding of how different they are from people with a normal, in the spectrum of normal, healthy outlook on life. So without further ado, let's get into this and see what you think. And if you've experiences in this area, please leave in the comments any comments that would be helpful to other people in the community. I've had a few comments recently that are very unhelpful to people in general, and bring it on, because it just gets deleted. So don't bother our community. Don't be negative to our community. Go somewhere else if you don't like what's being said. That's not to say you don't have a differing opinion. A differing opinion where it's helpful is fine, absolutely. Just don't be abusive in the comments. Okay, so of the 6 things I've listed, not in order of priority, that narcissists fear the most, let's start with the first one, and this may explain for you why what happened at the ending of your relationship happened. Narcissists go into, particularly, but all relationships, particularly the intimate relationship, with an agenda. And they follow the same pattern. It's love bombing, devaluation, mini discards, big discards, hoovering, and back into a semi-love bomb stage where they re-engage their partner in the relationship again. If there's any juice to be left in you, basically, any supply left, if you're not a heap on the floor, having broken down under the exhaustive process of psychological stress and emotional de-stress that narcissists will cause in you in any close interaction with them, where you're the main source of narcissistic supply. So narcissists create their own reality. They take reality and they warp it. And they're very good at gaslighting you into believing in their version of reality. So the trajectory of a relationship with the narcissist has to always remain in their control. And the narrative is what they write, not what you write, not what anyone else writes. It's the narcissist way or no way. With that said, if you can imagine you're beginning to put in boundaries towards the end of the life of the relationship, the first round of the relationship in this phase, and the narcissist, who suffers from extreme paranoia, albeit they'll project that onto you and say you're the one that's oversensitive and suffers from paranoia. Their paranoia is like their barometer of control. So their paranoia is highly sensitive to any change in you, their partner, or their main source of supply. It is literally akin to needing oxygen to live, and they can see their oxygen tank is very likely about to run out. And that can't happen They need oxygen to live. So if you're giving the signal and their paranoid barometer picks it up that you're about to leave the relationship, they will jump in and beat you to the finishing post, so to speak. They must be the ones to end the relationship because it has to be about them and their narrative. And they have to come off superior and in control because that essentially is their oxygen. So I hope that explains why a lot of them may have left you prematurely, because they sensed or feared you were about to end the relationship yourself, or it was the slow walk away on your part, which it may well have been. And in a more prepared and healthy state, you would have liked to maybe leave the relationship or exit it. And it would have been easier for you to navigate that process. Certainly not a walk in the park, but easier than being just thrashed out of left field by the narcissist. And to the narcissist, this isn't anything bad. This is just, well, you were going to leave me, so I've left you. It has to be painted in the way they want to see it. In that way, their reality is the warped reality where they're in control, even though you were going to leave them. And even when people do preempt that perimeter of paranoia, the narcissist will still try and convince people that they were the one that ended the relationship. And please, leave down in the comments. I know there'll be comments about this. You know, people have left narcissists and all they hear back was the narcissist left them. It's crazy, really. It is really crazy. But you're dealing with a disordered personality. And if you understand that control, lack of accountability, self-entitlement, and gaslighting themselves as to the reality of a situation, if you understand those fundamentals, you'll be able to answer any question about narcissists and their behavior and predict what they're going to do next and answer a person as to, well, why do they behave like that? It all boils down to these criteria. So losing control of their main supply is one of the things narcissists fear the most. Moving on to the second thing they fear the most, and that's being exposed. It's not as such being exposed for, say, doing a bad thing, as we would think. Oh well, if you know if we can say make people aware that the narcissist did such and such, then the narcissist is going to be really disgusted and fearful, and it's going to give them a narcissistic injury. Essentially, being exposed means that you're cracking bits off their mask, off the fake persona that they have created to navigate life with. You see, if people don't believe in this fake hologram that's presented to them, for instance, a religious leader or the real kind of communal narcissist, the good guy or the good gal who's always doing good deeds and is projected onto society as being the most benevolent, kind and charitable person imaginable, while at home they're literally beating up their family psychologically and emotionally and sometimes physically. So if part of that mask and the important driving presentation that they're giving to the world is exposed, that's what narcissists really fear. Because if you were to look at it like, supposing, again, we'll go back to the oxygen analogy. If they had an equipment or a piece of equipment that was able to access the oxygen, and without that piece of equipment, they couldn't access the oxygen, i.e., if their mask is damaged, and that is their modus operandi, that is the character they've created for society and the world, and the mask no longer works, people no longer believe in the mask. There's nothing to substantiate any personality behind that. So they literally have to retreat or extract revenge and say that's not true and prove that the other person is telling a lie. And they'll do that by nefarious means, by conning other people, by setting people up in a fraudulent way to try and take down the person that has dared say, you're not real. You're not who you pretend to be. You're a con man or a con woman. So the mask being exposed is the second thing that narcissists fear most. The third thing, and I don't think this is something, well, it's aging. Do people fear it? I think people that are lucky enough to be able to age and not die young embrace it. But is it something that we look forward to in a kind of the downside of aging? I would say probably not, in relation to your maybe lack of physical abilities, etc., etc. You get the picture. But to a somatic narcissist in particular, who has used their image, their physique, their good looks to control and bring in plentiful supply, where they don't have to be accountable for their behaviour as such, because there's always somebody waiting in the wings who's attracted to their looks. Aging is going to destroy their modus operandi. They're going to have to work harder. They're going to have to engage in more medium to long-term relationships, because they can't just chop and change like they did when they were younger. And again, not everybody that resorts to plastic surgery or that, many workouts in the gyms are somatic narcissists. People do that for various reasons. But the somatic narcissist will be big into anything that enhances their looks in order for them to have a plentiful supply of, we're calling it oxygen again, but it's life supply. It's as important as that to a narcissist. So aging is one of the things narcissists fear the most. 4. See himself setting up there for anyone on audio. Remy, our co-producer, is, I guess, gonna fix his pillow here now. He likes to make a comfortable bed for himself. Let's see what happens. Sorry, I digress. Number 4, the narcissist fears most is being ignored. So, given that the narcissist needs attention, it's literally like an electricity supply for the mask to light up. So for the mask to be alive and be fulfilling its function for the narcissist of maintaining control of the electrical narcissistic supply that people pump out to the narcissist, if nobody is giving the narcissist attention, or worse still, if the narcissist has gone hunting for an electric supply of narcissistic supply from someone by sending a text, phoning, calling at someone's house, and they're ignored, they're literally on a dying trajectory. They're literally gasping for oxygen, and they will do whatever they can and from whatever source they can to get some type of a hit so that the mask lights up again enough to be able to go out hunting in another direction for oxygen. So the worst thing you can do, and please don't feel pity for this person, feel compassion maybe, but not pity, because the narcissist will literally do anything in order to garner and steal, kill, destroy, in order to keep the false persona alight and for them to be in control of the narrative, destructive as that may be, particularly when they get to this kind of desperate stage, if they're being ignored. And if they're being ignored for a very good reason. It's because it's destructive to interact with them. Because the minute you do, they're going to slash you down in some one way or another, whether it's behind your back, a knife in your back, or destroying your reputation, or you know the things narcissists do. You know the way they leave people, particularly people that have had a close relationship with them. So being ignored, and that is actually going to be the subject again of the next podcast, because it's no contact is so difficult for people to maintain. And I believe if you understand the effects of no contact, the benefits to you and the benefits of staying away from a narcissist, then, and understanding what no contact would achieve with a narcissist, I believe it's easier to maintain it. So the fifth reason or things a narcissist would fear the most would be seeing you and your success. And you think, well, surely to God now, after the relationship with a narcissist, surely to God that after what they put me through and the amount of destruction they did, and sure, they took all my finances, they cleared me out, and they left my reputation in tatters with their lies. I've struggled now to recover that, to not give up, which is huge. It's been a year now, and I'm back on my feet. I'm working all the hours God sends, and I've gotten some lucky breaks. People think they're lucky breaks, but I think they're more somebody looking after us after what we've been through. And the narcissist is rooting around again in the undergrowth or wherever they're rooting around, because the love of their life that they may have left you for has turned out to be the opposite of the love of their life. And they're thinking about you and what you gave them and the fact that they were very well off with you, and it's winter and they're deciding, I need somewhere to, hibernate. So I'll check out Paula or Jack or John or June again and see what's up. And then they hear on the grapevine when they do the little bit of research, although they will have been keeping a little eye on you every now and again, they like to know that the stores are still open in case they run out of oxygen, in case they run out of narcissistic supply, or they just need a little top up when they're putting their current supply in devaluation. Well, they hear that you're doing actually much better without them, that you have now started a successful job or your own business. Oh no, your own business. Well, that gets under their skin, and it gets under their skin very fundamentally, because you and your values, and we're not saying that anyone that's not a narcissist is a saint. We know humans are perfectly inhuman. Humans are perfectly imperfect. The narcissist seeing you doing better with your way of living your life. So you striving to be good, or at least striving not to be bad. Striving to tell the truth, living in reality as the majority of people perceive it. Dealing with factual things and not making facts so subjective that they become a twisted reality, as does the narcissist. So you have dared, with that set of values that the narcissist told you were rubbish. The narcissist told you your kindness, your generosity, your support of other people was ridiculous, that you were an idiot to be like that because people were only going to take advantage of it. And, to get on in this world, you need to kill, steal and destroy. And the narcissist is scratching their head because they're in the bad situation. They left you. They moved on to the love of their life. Excuse the sarcasm. The love of their life turned out not to be the love of their life. In fact, was the opposite of the love of their life. They're in a bad position again. And you have the audacity to be flying high after they stripped your assets, after they messed your head up, after they had you disillusioned and angry and embittered and in grief. And yet you're the one that's flying high. Oh my. Oh my goodness. That flies against the whole raison d'etre, reason to be for the narcissist. You are actually, by your happiness, overcoming ability and success, holding up a mirror to the narcissist and saying, your way isn't right. You were wrong. You're not right. You're not omnipotent. You're not superior. And with the narcissist black and white thinking, they feel inferior because they're not superior. They're not doing as well as you. And that, my friends, is one of the biggest threats to a narcissist's control. They must be in charge of the narrative. They must be in control. They must be right. So there would be a lot of effects and results from that. And again, the subject of another podcast. And please leave details if you want any particular subjects covered. And we will do our best to at least incorporate them into other podcasts, if not make a whole podcast on that. And the sixth and last thing that the narcissist would fear the most is the thing that no one has control over, and that is their own death. So sometimes actually the result of that will be a very, what do you call it? A person who's always hypochondriac, a person who's always afraid any time they get ill at all. They fear their own death because no one has control over that except the divine. So that's it, guys. They're the things narcissists fear the most. I hope it gives more of an insight into how the narcissist scurries around their life, how they scurry around people, how they tell people off, how they believe they're right about everything, and why they have to do some of the things they do. It is actually nothing about, per se, the people or the supply sources, which is a horrible word for people, but that's the way narcissists see people. Their narcissistic supply sources. It's nothing to do with you per se. It's all to do with the narcissist's need for control, need for a supply extraction, and what you bring to them. And also what you have the ability to attract towards your coupledom as a couple, what you bring into the relationship, the people that like you and therefore will interact with the narcissist because they like you, which is another thing that people often say, well, I'm not sure why the narcissist was actually with me. You know, I didn't bring anything to the table in relation to finances and things like that. That's a big draw if you're a nice person, a popular person, someone that other people trust, and you can bring other people in to the narcissist nest. So without further ado, the hard copy of the book, I don't want to always be talking about the book, but Weaponized Love, the hard copy is actually available, I noticed, in the UK, which is on amazon.co.uk. So the soft copy isn't available. I don't know why. I'm looking into it. But anyone from Ireland that is looking for a very comprehensive guide on how narcissists are in a relationship would certainly maybe be interested in a purchase there on .co.uk. So the hard copy is out and is available. And for anyone that has asked in the comments, I am currently working on Audible, which is actually taking me away from the podcasts a bit, but I'm reading it myself, so it'll be done with this old Irish accent. I hope that you will like it when it comes out. I believe 90% of people that record their books on Audible will do it with a professional voice or whatever. But because of the nature of what we discuss, I kind of wanted to give it a personal touch. So anyway, that being said, I wish you all the very best in the week ahead. Keep plugging away at what you're doing. Keep concentrating on yourself. Learn as much as you need to learn about narcissists. And I'm telling you, you have a great life ahead. Bye from me and bye from a sleepy Rem, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.